So, have you ever really thought about where you come from? I mean, not just your parents or your grandparents, but your ultimate cosmic beginning. Well, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating sermon from 1980 that gives a pretty unique and powerful answer to that question. We're going to break down its core ideas about love, life, and our eternal purpose, and see if we can map out this universal path.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to look at what this sermon calls our cosmic blueprint, this idea that our story started way, way before we were born. Then we'll explore why love is described as the ultimate energy in the universe. After that, we'll see how our lives are laid out across 3 different stages, why the family unit is so incredibly important, and finally, what the sermon calls our homework for eternity. Let's jump in. Okay, first up, your cosmic blueprint. This whole idea really challenges the way we think about where our lives begin. It's suggesting our origins are way more ancient and connected than we probably ever imagined. All right, so the sermon kicks off with this really big question. We all think of our birthday as day one, right? But this text is pointing to a much, much grander origin story, one that says we're part of a single, unbroken chain stretching all the way back through human history, with its source in the divine. Now, this is a pretty profound concept. The sermon is basically arguing that each of us is a living, breathing continuation of everyone who came before us. Every single cell in your body is a composite of all of humanity, carrying bits and pieces from every ancestor. And get this, the inheritance isn't just physical, it's also spiritual. It includes what the sermon calls a tangled history of all the good stuff and all the turmoil, passed down through the ages. So, if we're the result of this massive cosmic history, what's the engine that's been driving it all? Well, according to this text, the answer is super simple and totally absolute. It's love. But we're not just talking about an emotion here. We're talking about the fundamental energy of creation itself. And this is a brilliant way to illustrate that point. The sermon makes this great comparison between electricity and love. You know, electricity is powerful, for sure, but it has limits. It needs a wire, a conductor to flow. Love, on the other hand, is presented as this superior force precisely because it has no limits at all. It can go everywhere and through everything, connecting the whole of creation. The sermon uses this really beautiful metaphor. It says love is like a soft, downy quilt. Imagine it, full of countless colors and textures, all this incredible variety. But it's not chaotic. It always harmonizes around a single central point, bringing everything together in a beautiful, unified way. Okay, so we've got our cosmic origins, and we've got the energy of love. The sermon then lays out a framework for our entire existence, and it divides it all into 3 clear stages. You can almost think of it as the soul's journey through different worlds. So here's the map of our life's journey. Stage 1 is the womb, a world of water where all our physical parts are put together. Stage 2 is life on Earth, a world of air where our whole mission is to grow and develop our spirit. And finally, stage 3 is the spirit world, an eternal life beyond time and space where, and I love this phrase, we breathe love. The key idea here is that each stage is just the prep course for the next one. So if our job on Earth is to develop our spirit, how exactly do we do that? The sermon points to one place above all others, the family. It's not just a social thing. It's presented as the sacred training ground where love is learned, practiced, and ultimately perfected. And at the heart of this idea is something the text calls the 4-position foundation. Basically, it's this ideal family structure. You have God at the top, then the parents, and then their children. And the sermon says that when these 4 positions are all aligned in a harmonious give and take of love, it creates a power so immense it's like a light glowing throughout the universe. Now, within this family structure, the child has this uniquely powerful role. They're not just a result of the parents' love. The sermon describes them as the very center and purpose of that love. In fact, it argues that without a child to act as that focal point, the parents themselves can't really find complete happiness. Okay, this brings us to our final section, the path to perfection. So, if life on Earth is really just preparation for the spirit world, then this is what the sermon calls the homework we've all got to finish before we can move on. And the text is super specific about what can knock you off this path. Complaining, for example, is singled out as being incredibly destructive. Arrogance, always making it about yourself. That's another huge roadblock. And suicide is viewed as this profound tragedy because it doesn't just end one life. It destroys the entire universe of history and potential that a single person represents.
So what's the right way forward? Well, the main principle is summed up in this one phrase: become a live offering. What does that mean? It means living a life of total selfless sacrifice for other people and doing it without expecting any kind of reward or even a thank you. And the stakes here are incredibly high. This quote really hammers home just how strict this cosmic law is supposed to be. You could be just a few steps from the finish line, but if you complain one single time, bam, you're sent right back to the starting point to do it all over again. So this is where it's all heading. The ultimate goal of this really tough journey isn't just to arrive somewhere, but to become something. It's about perfecting love in every possible way, reaching the very heart of love, and by doing that, becoming a true reflection of the divine, ready to live in that state for all of eternity. And so we're left with the central question that this sermon poses to every single one of us. It's a direct challenge, really, and it frames our whole life in a new way. If this life is just preparation, what is the homework that you need to do?